Did you know it's the best time of the year right now? Like seriously the best. In my opinion, I don't actually think it gets much better than this, especially when it comes to photography. You want to know why? Because it's winter! Hello everyone and welcome back to another vlog. I hope you've all been having a summer, even though we are now in winter, which means that the grey clouds, the gale force winds and the rains are here for another year. And for a lot of photographers, this is the season where, the cameras tend to be turned off and put back on the shelf until the more sunny, vibrant and warm weather resurfaces again. But I actually think winter's the best season to be getting out there to shoot some photos and to tell a story. And the reason why I love winter so much for photography, despite how miserable and depressing it can make you feel, is that all the different elements that come with winter, so the rain, thunderstorms, lightning, the grey clouds, the wind, help add a sense of mood and mystery, intrigue, and texture to your photos, and it can really bring whatever story you're trying to create to life. And because it's the season to be getting out there more to shoot photos, I thought I'd put together 5 really simple and easy rainy photography hacks that you can use to improve your photos during winter. So let's get into it with tip number 1, which is puddle reflections. Puddle reflections offer a unique and different way to alter the perceptions and the story you want to tell your viewer. What you want to do is you want to find a suitable location where you can capture subjects and the architecture around you. Then what you want to do is find a puddle, place yourself and move yourself around the puddle, altering your frame and your composition to shoot through and capture your subject. Then what you'll get are images like this. If you want to add more depth and meaning to your photo, what I find really helps is just waiting patiently for someone to pass through your frame as you're shooting through the puddle, or if you're out shooting with somebody, getting them to stand somewhere in the frame while you shoot through the puddle. And what that does, it creates a nice silhouette effect which adds a lot of mystery and a lot of intrigue to your photo. And as a result, you get something like this. You can get really creative with puddle reflections, so I encourage you to get out there and shoot through as many puddles as possible. Tip number 2, moody glass cityscapes. Glass cityscape has to be my favorite rain photography hack because I believe it evokes the most emotion and tells the best story with your photos. Now, before you start shooting, I suggest switching your lens to manual focus and not having it on autofocus. By having your lens on manual focus, you have complete control of what and how much your lens focuses on the foreground, which will be your glass panel with the raindrops on it, and the background. Once you have found your glass or plastic panel to shoot through with the desired cityscape in your background, what you want to do is play and adjust with your focus ring to get the desired image that you want. Something like this. But don't just stay in the same standing position. Drop lower, get higher, move side to side, change your position and composition to get different kinds of photos to help tell a different kind of story. Once you do that, you end up getting an image like this. But there's more to rainy cityscape photography than just shooting buildings and architecture. Try adding a human element to your photos. When you do, you end up getting something like this. Now, what you see in these photos is that the people aren't in focus, they're not sharp, and they're not really clear. And that's the point. But by manually adjusting focus and getting it to exactly where I want it to be, I give enough information to the viewer to decide what story they want to tell themselves about the photo. Shooting through a glass or plastic panel is a great way to show a place through different colors, textures, and shapes. So I highly recommend getting out there and shooting through as much glass or plastic as possible. Okay, tip number 3 is a lot of people's favorites, and that's bokeh. Bokeh has to be a photographer's favorite effect, and it can only be enhanced by shooting through glass with raindrop textures all over it. You want to find a glass panel that's in the direction of a lot of light sources such as traffic lights or light poles. And by simply adjusting the focus ring on your camera while it's in manual focus, you can get some really cool effects like this. This effect is much like the cityscape effect in the previous tip, but you're not focusing so much on architecture, buildings, or people. This is directly for light sources. Okay, we're nearly there with tip number 4, which is a fun one, puddles. This rain photography hack has to be the most fun, but also the most risky at the same time. Risky in the sense you can get very wet very quickly. You want to find a puddle where cars will be passing through and with a suitable scene in the background. Set your camera to a high shutter speed, something around 1/500, depending on your location how fast the cars are coming. And then when cars pass through the puddle, hold down the shutter button and capture as many frames as possible. When you do that, you get something like this. This form of rain photography might require a little bit of patience, but wait long enough and it will pay off. If shooting cars passing through puddles isn't your thing and you're with a friend, if they're willing to get a little bit wet, ask them to jump into the puddle. Then you may get something like this. The thing to remember when shooting cars passing through puddles or even having a friend jumping into the puddle is having a high shutter speed to make sure that you freeze that motion as soon as the tires or feet make impact with the puddle. So my 5th and final tip for rain photography hacks is freezing the rain. Freezing the rain as it falls is another rain photography hack that's perfect for adding mood and texture to a photo to tell a story. These dashes of light and texture complement the main subject of your photo. Experiment with changing your shutter speed to capture rain falling in different forms and shapes. By setting your camera to have a long shutter speed allows you to create motion blur with the rain. By then having a fast shutter speed, you're able to freeze that raindrop movement. So by slowing down my shutter speed, I was able to get a photo like this. By experimenting with different shutter speeds, you're really able to bring more of a mood and more contrast and texture to your photos. So that's it. There's my 5 rain photography tips that you can use the next time it's raining. So next time that there's a downpour, don't just lock yourself inside and hide away, leaving your camera on the shelf to collect dust. Don't use the rain as an excuse. Instead, get up, grab your camera, get out into that storm and just have a whole heap of fun. So that's it from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you took something away from this video, and I really hope you get out there, chase some storms and take some amazing photos. If you liked this video, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, please click subscribe and follow my journey, and I'll see you in the next video.